Hello, my name is Steve, and I was asked by some of the people at the Hunter's Lair to create a quick video of how I do my foam sculpting. I have a thread at the Hunter's Lair, sculpting or foam sculpting my first bio is what it's called if you're interested in seeing some of the pictures, but this is the project that is related to. And what I've got is I've got a foam plug that I am working on that I will eventually cover with fiberglass cloth and epoxy resin, and then I'll continue to finish it, smoothing it and so forth until I have a valid smooth plug that I can then make molds from that will ultimately form the helmets themselves. Okay, so this is what I've been working on at this point in time. It's more or less to the shape that I would like it to be. I haven't hollowed anything out yet, but I've gotten more or less the outside of it to where I like it. And the way this has come into being is I've taken 1-inch thick foam insulation sheets that you can get locally, typically at a hardware store like Lowe's, home improvements centers, and this stuff sands easy, it cuts easy, it's lightweight, yet it's firm, and so it works very well to make a plug out of. I've used this process in the past, and it worked very well when I did that. So this is also very inexpensive compared to a lot of clays that I found, and not that sculpting with clay is a problem. I just personally find this to be an easier method for me, plus it's more economical, and being budget-minded, I'm trying to keep my costs down while I do this. So I've laminated roughly 17 sheets of the foam board, and I had cut them essentially 12 by 15, so I made 17 of those, and then I glued them together with a spray adhesive in between each set of sheets and built that up, and then I used wooden templates on either side of the block to cut out as a guide for a wire saw that I used to cut the pattern out. And so I cut on all three axes each of the shapes, front, top, and side, and then I had a rough shape that deep within it, once I got digging and cutting, I've come to this point. And I've made some minor corrections and changes as I've gone to add additional material to the cheek area to bring it out and make it more what I want. So right now, I'm actually in the process of working on putting on this laser shroud, which again, I've worked on sculpting this. This is just a rough cut piece that I'm in the process of shaping, and it'll look something like this, and I'll continue to shape and form it as I go until I get it down to the shape I want, and then I just simply attach it with the spray adhesive again. To cut this material, using either an X-Acto knife or a kitchen steak knife, essentially, or a paring knife that I got at Walmart. Faberware, it's a very inexpensive knife, about $7 I think, and it's got this curved edge to it which makes it easy for, good for digging into contoured areas and so forth, and you can work it back and forth, and you can cut and pry as you cut and get into a contoured area. And then you can also take small pieces of sandpaper and sand in those areas as well, and that's where I've done stuff like with the cheek, the recess here, and so forth. So I use either 100 grit sandpaper for the rough shaping or 150 for some more smoothing. Both will take away a lot of material quickly, so you need to be careful with that. I also use a dust mask. I recommend that. And I've also used a spackling compound, which again I got at Walmart for like $3. It's very lightweight, very easy to sand, and I've used that for some fillet material around certain places, and we'll continue to use that. I filled in the holes where my all-thread rod went through to hold my patterns onto the foam block as I cut that out with a wire saw. So this is taking shape very nicely, and right now with what I'm working on, I'm trying to get this to the way I want it. And while this is a P1 looking bio, I'm not intending it to be P1. I'm just trying to make this look cool. So unlike others that I've seen or whatever, but so far this is shaping up very well. And to give you a demonstration of how I cut this, the knife being good and sharp, it cuts very easy, and I just use a gentle back and forth motion to do that shaping, and I can trim off just a little bit at a time. You'll notice that it doesn't cling too bad with static. It also sands very easily, and you can just brush the dust off of it. It doesn't cling to your clothes, make a huge mess. So it works out quite well as a molding or a building medium. So getting the rough shape of this has just been a process of trial fitting a block that I cut out, and so far it's looking pretty good. Definitely something I can work with. I can add fillets if I need to with the spackling compound at a later date. So I'm just trying to get this to the rough shape. So this is pretty much what I do to make this, and I will be posting more pictures of this as I go on my thread on the Hunter's Lair. But I'm also using reference photos from one of the other members for a sculpt that he is working on utilizing clay. Very well sculpted and very good reference photos to be able to help gauge things by. Very useful. So that's pretty much how I do this. It's very easy. And like I said, once I get this done, I will fiberglass over the whole thing with epoxy resin, because polyester will eat this foam away. So forget the polyester resin you buy at Walmart and the Bondo. It won't work with foam. You have to use epoxy. But I can make a putty out of epoxy resin, the same resin I would use to do this, and a product called micro balloons. And you just mix it together. It makes a very lightweight putty material that's easily sandable and shaped. And so once I get the fiberglass coating on all this and I get it initially sanded out smooth, I'll be using the micro balloon putty to fill in any of the low spots or the really bad places, and then eventually just adding automotive primer, layering up and wet sanding in between each coat. And eventually I'll have basically a glass smooth finish, which I can then create a mold from. And so this would form my original, my plug, and I should be able to immediately mold from that whatever I try to cast. So that's pretty much it.